Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Race to World First After Dark, presented by Secret Lab. I'm Kams. I'm here with a very happy Kalamazi.
Yeah, I haven't seen the intro before, actually. That's pretty cool.
It's a vibe.
I like it, yeah.
Someone in production made it. It's very good.
It is. It's nifty. I like it.
Yeah, but before we jump into our topic, which is memorable trinkets, we do want to plug a new feature on Raider.io. You can find daily recap videos of the guild streams and track every guild progress this race. So go to raider.io/RWF to check it out. Thank you to Raider.io, great sponsor of our event. And yeah, I'll have to check that out after this as well because I see these features.
Nifty.
Live updatings and stuff. But yeah, we're going to be talking about trinkets tonight.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I went digging through the treasure chest, finding old stuff. There's no way I found them all because there's just so many trinkets. So
okay.
Why don't we get started with some vanilla WoW?
Yeah, let's do it.
You play back then?
I started playing in TBC, early TBC, so essentially, yes. I leveled through vanilla. So,
yeah,
sort of. Yeah.
Do you remember like an old classic carrot on the stick?
I do, actually. That was highly sought after. Carrot on a stick was like, you're an OG if you have carrot on a stick.
Yeah.
It was good.
You kind of like didn't have any trinket before you got that, so they were just like the two blank spots.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and you just had that on, got your mount speed. We've got another vanilla trinket here, the Scarab Brooch. I'm sure there's other, again, very iconic ones, but I found this, and this one stayed relevant in other expansions. I think you could even use this, and they must have nerfed it. I cannot remember. I forgot to look it up what people use this on, but I think people use this in BC and maybe even made its way into Wrath at some point.
I've seen it used. Like, I played a little bit of Classic. I played a decent bit of TBC and like a little bit of Wrath, but I've seen Scarab Breach used in certain spots. The effect's strong.
Yeah.
It's a shield that absorbs 15, damage equal to 15% of the amount healed for 30 seconds.
For 30 seconds.
Yeah. That seems pretty strong.
And I think it just scaled, so you could use it. Or like didn't scale down or anything.
Right, it scales with your health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people would use that. But I mean, that's all I really found for vanilla. Again, there's probably some others, but really I think the trinkets started to come into their own in the Burning Crusade, where they're more like powerful items.
I agree.
In vanilla, they were just, like carrot on the stick. That's not really a power gain. You're not really ever going to use that because it's kind of annoying to switch on and off.
You got to go fast, though. I mean, it's still there.
Yeah. Yeah, but you said you played more Burning Crusade. Do you have a memorable trinket from there?
Okay. So there was the shifting Naru sliver, I believe, from Sunwell, but it wasn't like very well known. Mm-hmm. The more well known ones were Memento of Tyrande and Skull of Gul'dan. Oh, and Dragonspine Trophy.
Yeah.
These are the big ones right here. These are huge.
Dragonspine Trophy. Gruul's Lair. It stayed around, I think, best in slot for some specs, like maybe a Rep Paladin and maybe a Rogue spec. They had it like the whole time.
Yeah, we were farming Gruul's Lair even, like in the end of in SSC TK farm, going into Black Temple, I think Hyjal. I think it was just best for the entire expansion, actually. Yeah. It was incredibly strong for all melee, pretty much. Yeah, Skull of Gul'dan's an interesting one, too. It was, I think, one of the first trinkets that had haste on it, actually.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Okay.
A big thing with Dragonspine Trophy and Skull of Gul'dan is they have haste, and that was pretty rare stat.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, I mean, Zoom. Why not? Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, once you have zero haste, if you just get a little bit, the way the stats work, you're not getting into the DR.
I think a lot of Black Temple gear and like Hyjal had haste on it, which was, I think that's the first time you'd seen it in game, actually.
Potentially.
I think so. Have to check that reference.
Maybe some rare spots, but yeah, I mean, it has been so long, and we're so like deep into Dragonflight right now, and I wasn't much of a Classic player because I played it at the time. I played a little bit, but not any of the rating of Classic, so I didn't really get to like revisit the way everything unfolded.
Yeah, that's fair.
But speaking of classic Wrath of the Lich King is out now. People are working their way through. We've got some big ones here. I think these are going to be coming up. They're not out in current Classic Wrath. The Talisman is, but why it's memorable is not out yet. Do you happen to know why that trinket's good? This is a deep
Talisman,
cut.
right?
Yeah, the blue. It drops from a dungeon.
I mean, it has to do with dodge, right? Because isn't there like a dodge cap or something like that? Wasn't there? Am I wrong here? I don't know. I'm sort of guessing, but not really. No, Kams, enlighten me. You obviously know. You're smiling at me.
It's a Nubarak. I believe this is the trinket. Now I thought it was block. Now I'm reading dodge. So okay. I hope I got that right. That's embarrassing if not. But blue dungeon trinket, people would get it for the Nubarak fight.
Okay.
On heroic, because you wanted to be really low health, because he had a mechanic where he would heal himself for like the amount of damage you did, and the amount of damage scaled with your health. And if you were at low health, it did little damage and you wouldn't heal as much. So the tanks had to stay super low, and they had to make like a set to make sure that they could survive.
That's cool, actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah, a little thing for people preparing for that. It should be coming up soon.
Deathbringer's Will is from... Is that ICC?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
I've been told by people this was a great melee trinket. I didn't play melee at the time, and it wasn't really the era of like that many alts. But yeah, I've heard that it's iconic. And the Reign of the Dead, I just remember it drops off a Nubarak in Trial of the Grand Crusader. And same with Death's Choice, I believe.
That's from the Shadow Light boss in Grand Crusader.
Yeah.
I think it's second to last.
I think those are very like coveted.
Yeah. It was Lightbane, I think Darkbane are the bosses. They're fought at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah,
certainly.
Feel the Lightbane.
I remember that trinket dropping once or twice for us. It was highly sought after. It was. Yeah.
I remember using Reign of the Dead for a long time on my mage.
It sounds awesome too. Reign of the Dead. Like, you don't get items that iconic sounding nowadays. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
A nice orange icon. All right, let's move past the classic into what is yet to become a classic, which is Cataclysm.
I've got a couple in mind. Not for Kata, but I want to see if you hit on it.
Hold on, don't. No,
I'm not saying anything yet. I'm just saying I got a few in mind.
Okay. Well, these Darkmoon cards, you had them. I just remember having them forever. The Volcano.
I didn't play a whole lot in Kata.
Okay.
So this is more of like uncharted territory to me. You got to help me out a little bit here.
Yeah, so the Darkmoon cards, you get them at the very beginning, and I can't remember where I replaced it. At least a whole tier, maybe like into the second tier of the expansion. And same with the other ones. I was just a caster at the time, Volcano. But the healer one was also very strong, Tsunami.
Okay, interesting.
And then Shard of Woe, this dropped off Sinestra, which was the... I guess a secret boss.
Yeah, right.
Heroic only boss underneath Cho'Gall in Bastion of Twilight.
Name. Right, yeah, I know Shard of Woe. I know the name. I never had it, but I know the name for sure.
Yeah, so you look at it, reduce mana cost of your spells, and on use haste, you think, oh, healer trinket. But it actually worked for Arcane Mage.
I was going to say that Arcane Mage, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you biss the whole expansion for Arcane Mage. You wanted one for Spine of Deathwing, because that was the Arcane Mage stacking fight.
That's cool.
Very iconic there. Kind of the Dragon Spine trophy of casters of
That's a good comparison. I wish there were more effects like that in game now that worked with like... They were just niche like that lasted for a while. It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. And then Cunning the Cruel and Vile Shadows. These dropped off any boss, I believe, within Dragon Soul. And these were kind of like very rare. I think every single boss could drop them. And they were so powerful in RBGs.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Especially Cunning of the Cruel. Like, you could just get into an RPG if you had that trinket on Heroic.
Right.
It just did ridiculous damage. If you're a mage with a legendary staff, Cunning of the Cruel Fire Mage,
that's good.
You just melt the entire team.
That's cool, actually.
Yeah. I'm sure the PvPers love it when there's stuff like that.
It'll be back soon enough. So
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I wonder if other people have any ideas of some trinkets, just let us know.
Yeah.
But I believe that's all I had for Cataclysm, so we can get on to the nice pandas. You play this one a lot more?
Okay, I did play a little bit of Pandaria. I didn't raid really. I would assume Bindings of Immersius or whatever is probably on this. It is. Okay, perfect. There we go. I know that name. I don't know exactly what it did, but it was good.
Yeah. Do you want to read that for us?
I'll try.
It's mostly the second block of green text that's...
Equip amplifies your critical strike damage and healing, haste, mastery, and spirit by 8.36%. Okay, it makes sense. That's solid.
It just made your whole gear a little better, scaled everything up. Yeah, and then just a fat int proc for 20 seconds.
That's insane, actually. Dude, why don't we have that around nowadays?
Yeah, I don't know. That was a great trinket. I actually, the first kill of Heroic Immersius, I roll tokened and got a Warforged one of those.
Oh, that's sick.
And I destroyed that tier.
That's sick.
I did so much damage.
That's awesome.
Because then you could also get, I think I even had a heroic, or not a heroic, a normal Black Blood of Yorsage dropped off Garrosh. And you can see it gives you intellect every second and it stacks up to 10 times. And this is back in the day when you could snapshot your dots. So as an Affliction Warlock, you got your 20-second long huge intellect buff from this Purified Bindings. Then your Black Blood of Yorsage, you just snapshot all of your dots basically as it hits 10 stacks.
That's good, actually.
And then you're just soul swapping those around and doing ridiculous damage. And then speaking of snapshotting, who can forget Unerring Vision of Lei Shen?
So I never had a chance to play with this at all. But, I mean, that just sounds pretty insane.
Yeah.
Just snapshot and everything crits 100%. Like, all the time, that's actually ridiculous.
Yeah, and I don't know all the interactions with Rune of Origination. I know Feral Druids and Monks, I believe, wanted it. Feral Druids, it might have been Biss, the whole expansion, because they didn't change it. They did end up nerfing Unerring Vision. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, because you could snapshot, you could just refresh your dots in this little 4-second window, and then they crit 100% of the time, the whole time they were up. And with Affliction, you could soul swap. It's hard to explain. When you would soul swap, you'd pull the dots off I don't even think they came off the target. They stayed on there and then gave you a buff that was like 4 seconds long, and then you shot them off at someone else, and it kept the snapshotting.
That's cool.
So what you would do if you want to get really nerdy and in the weeds, but that's what the After Dark's for.
Yeah, I know what soul swap is, Kams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this interaction, so you would, put up this beefy dots, and I think they changed it so you wouldn't want to use it for Affliction later on in Siege of Orgrimmar where it dominated. But anyways, you would pull the dots into yourself. They stayed on the target. You would then cast a Haunt or another Global because it had 4 seconds. Then you'd shoot them out, pull them back, do another Global, and it was just buying time because every time you sent them out, they just got a little bit shorter, and you could just pass it around. Like on the Council Boss, you could just bounce it back and forth the whole time and do like 2 million DPS.
Better times, Kams. Better times.
It was very fun gameplay, actually.
Yeah, it's a unique interaction, but I can see how exciting that would be.
Yeah, and I can't go without talking about more of the Unerring Vision, about the demo. This is where it was really good.
That's what I heard. Never played it, though.
Yeah, because your Doom at the time, every time it would tick periodically. It wasn't just at the end. And every time it crit, it would spawn an imp. And you could double Doom because of pandemic, so it'd be like a 1.5-minute long Doom. 100% crit with all the other trinkets. You just imps flying out. Every imp attack gave you
That's
flurry.
Awesome.
You're just spending time in meta blasting. Yeah, and now we're on to Warlords of Draenor. You've got Prophecy of Fear, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah, we did actually.
The broadcast about Arcane Mage. And this was good. It marks the target, and then every attack would make it explode, kind of like Touch of the Magi does now. And so you would just blast these arcane missiles into this thing and hope it procced on your Prismatic Crystal.
Yeah, I was going to say that, right? So you had the full Prismatic Crystal damage with Prophecy proc off of arcane missiles. That, with the ring factored in, right, in the end of the expansion, Legendary Ring.
Yeah.
Right? And it led to this incredible burst from arcane mages. It's very cool, actually.
You'd really hope it procced on the crystal, because if it didn't, then you'd have to do your missiles into the boss, and then it would cleave on the crystal.
Gross.
It's very weird, but awesome. And sometimes you could just get a proc at just the perfect time, like on the imps on Manaroth, and dominate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then Soul Cap. This one stored up damage into your target and then exploded at the end. Kind of a bit like the ring. This was very powerful for melee. They loved it.
Yeah, this is a weird one. I think wasn't there a couple range or some other weird spec that played this? It wasn't even pure melee. I could be wrong.
Probably. I mean, it's got the classes on there.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Oh, I guess that's fair. Okay. It was highly sought after. I remember we were chasing one for our rogues for a long time, and it dropped eventually, and they were just losing it. And you were in that tier for literally, a year and a half? So you had a year and a half of Soul Cat play? It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you were in there, and the Prophecy of Fear. And I would like before we move on to Legion, I would just like to point out, look at these tooltips. Those are time period accurate item levels and stats. I was on the way back machine.
690 plus. Yeah, that's actually pretty insane. We're on our way.
Yeah, we're getting there.
With 18 difficulties a tier, we're on our way soon enough.
Yeah, but then we got the stat squish in Legion. Mm-hmm. Or the number squish? We got more WAD trinkets. I apologize.
Yeah, let's keep it going. Oh, these are actually good. Okay. So, is Libram of Vindication, is it Paladin? I mean, it's Paladin only. But
these are the class trinkets that dropped off Archimond.
Right.
Yeah, so some of them were kind of so-so for some people, but others were like pretty powerful. Like, I think the mage one will be coming up. I'm trying to remember. The warlock one, I think, made your dots tick faster.
Yeah, it made your dots tick faster, and it's whenever you cast the Hand of Gul'dan, it spawned an imp, which Demo got reworked in Legion. So Hand of Gul'dan became part of your core rotation, not a spell you cast once every 15 seconds. So you had a literal army of imps, 100, like 80 imps following you around with this thing on in pre-patch. It was really cool.
Oh yeah, their Ice Lance cast immediately after a Frostbolt dealt more damage. Frost became pretty good there, but yeah, the Arcane was so strong with the Prophecy of Fear and Crystal and the burst in the Legendary Ring, like you said.
Yeah.
You just pretty much played Arcane all the farm.
Very cool though.
Yeah, and this is kind of a throwback or a reference, because we've got Neltharion's got some class trinkets. They're not quite as specific like this. I don't know how people felt about them, but
these were cool because they had class, like essence of your class in them, right? Neltharion's cool as well. They proc off abilities and things, but they're just sort of general class proc or just stat procs, right? These are like when you cast certain spells, it changes the way the spell works.
Yeah, these are like
it's like a tier bonus. Yeah, exactly. It's very, very cool. So, OG throwback.
Yeah,
I like
I
it.
believe. Okay, here's the seed. I remember good for the Star Surge. Also triggers Starfall. Was pretty cool.
Tiger's Fury. What's feral stuff?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
And who knows, man?
Yeah, I remember the Seed of Creation being pretty decent.
I remember that too, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Rogue one's very good or not, but I do remember the Sacred Dranic Incense there briefly.
Yeah, I think that is all the class trinkets. Is a big thing. Yeah, now we're on Legion. And they when did they do this squish? Was it WAD?
I think it
Yeah, it was WAD.
I think it was
WAD. They kept the item level and the stats were still ramping up, as you can see here. Just a crazy numbers on these things, like 1180 verse on the Moonglaves from Tomb of Sargeras.
Yeah, 900 eye level too. But
yeah, and we were kind of teasing this earlier. Nagura brought up Whispers in the Dark and Draught of Souls from Nighthold. I mean, this Whispers in the Dark is, look at, increases your casting speed by 61.37% for 12 seconds, and then you get a decreased haste for 8 seconds. And so it's just crazy mini lust.
I was going to say, Whispers is one of the ones I had in mind. Like, that's an iconic trinket that was highly sought after by basically every range. Draught of Souls being sort of the melee version, I guess. Not the same effect, but it was also, I believe, from Gul'dan, I think, as well. Maybe it was Elysan, but
Draught of Souls, maybe Gul'dan.
Either way, both Nighthold trinkets and both very strong. Very cool.
Converges of Fate from Elysan. CDR trinket for Agi and Strength. I was a Hunter main at this time, so that trinket was awesome. I think you could like line up true shots in a way that you like really needed it. And then, of course, the Unstable Arcana Crystal. It looks pretty plain, but just the way the math works out on the stats, that thing was incredible all expansion. Even just base item level, dropped off a world boss.
Withered Gem.
My
friend looted one week 1 and wore it the entire expansion.
Yes.
Never took it off. He had one trinket slot. That was it.
Yeah, it could Titan Forge just at the time where it could just go up. So I think I even got like a pretty decent Titan Forge one at one point in a patch.
Relinquish ones, right?
Yeah, well, there were those too. You could like buy trinkets off of a vendor and people would just gamble to try and get an Arcana Crystal.
My kind of game right
so
there.
So powerful. Yeah, I'm kind of glad that it's not like that anymore, but
I'm not.
I mean, it's very strange to have a world boss that anybody can do, drop a trinket that powerful, and it's kind of boring, just some stats, but yeah, very strong.
Big damn.
Yeah, and moving on to Battle for Azeroth. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about the sliver, incandescent sliver?
I remember sliver groups and everybody getting so mad when someone was in the sliver group without sliver on, and vice versa. Sliver was fun though. It's sort of an opposite of what the cloak is on Scale Commander even now.
Mm-hmm.
Where like it steals stats, you don't want to be near somebody, but you sort of do. It was cool. It was a good trinket. It simmed well, and if you had it, you'd play it. But did you not like it, Cam? She seemed very...
No, it was a little weird. I mean, anybody who did Crucible Storms, that was the 2-boss raid, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was... the sliver was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't really use it too much in Ashar's Eternal Palace. You kind of replaced it with the Font of Power and some other trinkets. But yeah, you just wanted to be spread out, and if people got near you... Wait, could you stack with other slivers? Is that...
You could.
Yeah,
you could.
You got a big stat, and like a nice glowy effect around you.
We used to have markers down for the sliver group, and if someone moved into the sliver group that wasn't with the sliver on, everybody got... You knew in a second. Like, who's in the sliver group? It was good.
Yeah, that was a Battle to Zarlor, that trinket. And then, yeah, for Eternal Palace, I have... the Ink Pod, again a melee trinket. I think this kind of mechanic is built into Warriors now, where you stack up this like proc, and then when the boss hits a certain amount of health, I think here it says 0, but it was, around execute range, it just procced the whole stack, did crazy damage. And it was like, I think, useful in Nyalotha because you could just, it allowed you to just kind of build up damage on something, and then when you hit execute, it just all procced. And so on fights where the execute was more important, it was there. But then there's Ashar's Font of Power, which was like best in slot for Warlocks and Mage. I think
the whole expansion.
After it came out,
Very, very strong.
And a big channel, kind of like a puzzle box in a way, but the longer you channeled it, you got a massive stat. You see up to 30 seconds of a lot of primary stat.
And this is the time of double on use, I believe, too, correct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's 30 seconds. You could...
Yeah, you could sort of pair it together with another trinket that, like, they could pop together and get a huge intellect boost or whatever. Yeah. It was strong.
And then I put the punch card on here because it was interesting, and we actually used it on a Shara progression to take down the Hulk, which was an ad you needed to burst down, and it had a ton of health.
I think I remember that, actually. Watching Prog before I worked the race, which is crazy to say, but I remember that, actually. The Cyclotronic Blast, I believe, was the red punch card that you could just hit and it would blast. It was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it was Affliction. It would scale with your haunt.
Yeah, that's very cool, actually.
It did a ton of damage. Look at this.
I forgot about this. This was a spicy one. I didn't play melee, but everybody wanted an Ashbane's Razor Coral.
Yeah.
It's very large, too.
Yeah, I'm being told I forgot this one. I apologize, melee. I have ranged brain.
I mean, it's okay.
A lot of trinkets. A lot of expansions.
A lot of bangers. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, what are we on? How many expansions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to move on to Shadowlands with the 9.
Yeah. I know some of these.
Yeah. Look at that one over to the right, the IQD.
You know what's funny? For the longest time during beta of Shadowlands, I assumed that IQD, I think most people did, wasn't implemented. And the effect just wasn't there. And then it went live and it was like that too. I'm like, oh, it's just hidden buffs. Like, it depends on what you're doing. It changes, right? It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. The only uncool part about it was that it was best in slot for so many specs. So every season, you just go back in to the other side and just farm this and hope you get one, and always hoping you get one out of the box. And I bet trinkets like this actually made them think, what if we rotated the dungeons or something? So maybe think it for that too. Yeah.
The Soul Editing Ruby also being one. Not I hear that's impactful. But yeah, I remember farming that a million times as well.
Yeah, now we'll have to say I'm not terribly familiar with Sanctum's trinkets. Do you know of any good ones there?
Sanctum Domination?
Yeah.
There was Shadowed Orb of Torment, but it wasn't like incredible. It was a caster trinket. You channeled it and took damage from Remnant of Ner'zhul, I believe it dropped from. I don't think there were any great ones in there besides that. There could be a good melee one, but I'm not sure. It's melee.
Yeah, because I've got the Stone Legion Heraldry,
right?
The Capitalist Hymnal, and the Splintered Heart of Valar from Castle Nathria. The Heart of Valar was a cheat death for, I think anybody could use it any role.
Yeah.
And put it nice on a tank. I had it on my Demon Hunter. It was made learning to tank a lot easier, just having a nice little cheat.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then the Hymnal and the Stone Legion Trinket were this kind of new thing where they buff each other, the more of them that are in the group. So you'd be like, I'm a hymnal, put me in the hymnal group, and you'd buff each other's stats.
We've seen that even more nowadays too. With there's even one in the raid now, Chromatic Essence, I believe. It buffs the party based on who's in the group. Whispering Incarnate Icon, also similar to Hymnal, the rare trinket from Vault of the Incarnates. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Hymnal set the stage for those trinkets in a sense.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you know any Sepulchre trinkets other than First Sigil. This one I just remember being so strong for everybody. So much burst, 5-minute cooldown. Yeah,
it was good.
Big burst.
There was Jailer trinket, but nobody played Scars. Scars was just a mess. So, First Sigil was the banger. Insane damage increase and insane damage taken reduction. It was good. This is a good list, Kams. This is solid. These are the bangers.
Yeah, and a weird like interaction with your Covenant. This one reset the cooldown Soul Shape. I think sometimes it would just Soul Shape you, or like start doing the Fleshcraft. Which is a little troll, but
I forgot about that actually. Yeah, everyone just hit it for the verse effect. They didn't use it to like reset Soul Shape or whatever. You could have, I guess, but I mean, yeah, that's actually a pretty cool idea. I never thought about that actually.
There are probably some good melee trinkets from Mythic Plus, but just IQD just kind of dominated so many specs.
It's universal.
Right. And now we're on to the modern era, current times.
So is this post-nerf puzzle box, Kams?
Yeah, this is post-nerf. It's a nice little blue.
All right. That works. Yeah. Incarnate Icon. I mean, we just talked about it actually. Sort of similar to Hymnal, where it's like the more people in your party or raid, I guess. It's based on rolls, but you gain more effects from them. Who's wearing the trinket? It was rare, but in the end, most people had it. A decent bit of people had it.
Yeah.
But
I got a couple in my box. It's very exciting.
There you go.
And I think Nagura is saying it's even like maybe usable this tier for Boomkin. But then you do need a healer and a tank to buff it. So.
They're not doing that.
Yeah. And then you got the Manic Grief Torch.
Oh, yeah.
You see a lot of this in the MDI and like in the raid even now, I think. I think I've seen some people Grief Torching. You just lob all these fireballs.
Yeah. Thank you for resetting my Grief Torch by dying, Kams. Thank you.
That's one of the best parts. I got one out of like a normal box, like from Time Walking or whatever on my Rogue, like very early in the patch. And it was just fun doing Mythic Plus because people would die and you're just like, all right, let's go. Reset the cooldown.
It's very good. I think, I could be wrong here. Don't quote me on this. And if Scarizard's watching this, I am sorry if this is misquoted. I think Scarizard, who designed a lot of trinkets, I believe he worked with this and said that Manic Grief Torch, which is a last-minute scribble, I'll figure out the name later on, and it just stuck through production and just went live like that. It's actually really funny.
Name,
yeah, it's great. It's very good.
Yeah, we got some like decent Mythic Plus trinkets. The Voidmender Shadow Gem, pretty good for a lot of specs. Good for healers.
It wasn't even on DPS loot tables for 10.0.
Oh, really?
They put it on the DPS loot table in 10.0.5 because DPS are buying healer trinkets essentially from the dungeon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's very good though.
Yeah, the Whetstone. A lot of healers using this one, just getting some extra damage for their group.
Yeah.
And like you said, the puzzle box. It's been nerfed, but like most melee wanted that, I believe. I don't. Like, it's so good. To have these huge strong. 3 minutes to pair with your cooldowns and like do on like a huge pull or on the pull with lust, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like a Radius Fragment, which is a huge intellect boost that's out in this patch too. Not as good though, but interesting.
The Storm Eater's Boon, I'm not sure why you use the Storm Eater's Boon or the Manic Grief Torch, because I don't think you ever really use both. The Storm Eater's Boon like rooted you and you just did so much just cleaving AoE damage around you. That one is a fun trinket too. Like on a tank, I had that on my warrior. Just pop that.
Oh yeah. This is the one that was used on Razagath to negate the winds, I think, for certain mana.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think even like Roger was playing a hunter and used it to just negate a wind.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then Broodkeeper's Promise. We got to show some love to the healers.
Yeah, why not? It's fair.
Yeah, you like bond
Throw
with
it in
somebody. You know, get some verse for each other. You know, you want to be bonded as a DPS because you can get some verse.
Yeah, why not?
Restore some health.
That's
it
cool.
Actually does quite a bit of healing, actually.
Huh.
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited to see how these trinkets shape up in this raid and in Season 2. I mean, there's the time breaching Talon from Halls.
Well, it's pronounced Talon, Kams. Time breaching Talon.
Oh, it's not Talon. No, it looks like a little Talon.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I'm here to correct you. It's Talon.
Okay.
Say it with me, Talon.
Talon.
Yeah.
It's almost like my name, Taylor.
It actually, well, don't dox yourself, Kams.
Talon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Talon looks good. There's a couple of them. Season 2 is like the caster meta for trinkets. Season 1 was melee, it seems like. There's Talon, Iridius Fragment, there's Spoils and Aberrus, and yeah. Besides that, they're all bad. But hey, there's
Do you
something.
know any in the raid that are good? Oh, the class trinkets, I guess. Yeah.
Yep.
It
class
depends,
trinkets.
I guess.
It does depend. Igneous Flowstone was good from Magmarax for a while, but they nerfed it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next best trinket now is actually
Beacon.
Beacon can be very good. Yeah, Beacon from Scale Commander Sarkolas, very good. You can pop it as a healer or a tank and get a lot of damage in on a 2.5 minute cooldown. But the problem is that it's from the final boss, so it's sort of hard to acquire depending on where you're rating. I guess what your prog level is and all that. Besides that, they're all just sort of semi-generic, but they're decent, I guess.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining me tonight to talk about all these trinkets.
Of course, I'm happy to be here, Kams. Thank you for having me on.
And as great as all these trinkets are, there is a problem in the real world with trinkets. They are filling up our oceans, just little tidbits of things. So we have partnered with the charity Oceans Conservancy to clean up the oceans. You can donate there at tl.gg/rwf-donate. There's also the liquid apparel, which I'm wearing here. I've got a nice shirt underneath, but I'm all mic'd up, so I can't really show that off.
He's telling the truth, Chad. Don't worry. Yeah. I can see it.
And that is tl.gg/rwf-shop, tl.gg/shop for the apparel.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see here, if you want to donate, $25 transmog rating. We're not going to do that here. It is getting late. Or a UI rating. They will save them, though. If you want to donate, they will do them next broadcast. Trying our best not to miss any of them. I think we're all caught up. So donate there. Great cause.
Yeah. You don't want me rating your transmog or your UI. I mean, you do. I'll give you a real rating. But if you want to skip out on, being critiqued, donate tonight because I won't be on the first shift tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, we're going to be sleeping in. All right,
Yes,
there's a quick apparel, a little tease.
That works.
Yeah, you can see it here. A trinket for yourself. All right, thank you, Kalamazi.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and thank you to our sponsors, Coinbase, Honda, Thorn, Monster Energy, Kingston Fury, Alienware, Twitch, Raider.io, Wowhead, Warcraft Vlogs, and, of course, Secret Lab for these wonderful chairs sponsoring this night show, getting us here. The stream will continue with a rebroadcast where if you don't want to see ads, make sure you subscribe, throw your Twitch Prime. You can skip the ads in the main broadcast once it's back live, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. PST, excuse me.
We're mixed up here, but it's okay.
Pacific, 9:30 a.m. with Jack and Aya for Rise and Raid, and then probably some Neltharius, maybe some Mythic Plus, then Echo of Neltharion.
Yeah, probably. It's going to be a big day tomorrow. We're already at the penultimate boss. So
yeah, this tier's going fast, so make sure you tune in before it's over, and thank you for watching.